in this short video, I'll walk you through a very simple 5-step process to find the perfect niche for your online retirement business, utilising a Japanese concept called Ikigai. So stick around, I'll explain what that means in a minute. I think for me, and perhaps lots of people who want to build an online business, I really struggled trying to pick a niche. I had lots of options to choose from, lots of hobbies, lots of things I've done at work. I couldn't make a decision. I kept going round and round these circles, and I think it's probably because I was scared of making the wrong choice. So being a process and systems guy, I thought I'll sit down, I'll create a very simple process and just follow the process and see where that takes me. That's what I'm going to walk through in this video. And going through that process, I was able to land on what I think is a perfect niche for me. So I'm sure if you give yourself a couple of hours max and you follow this process, which is very simple, you'll find the perfect niche for you. So, what exactly is the Japanese concept of Ikigai? It's an ancient concept, and if you do any online research, you'll find lots of papers on it. There's lots of books being published on it. Lots of them go into real detail. They're very, very complicated. Where in essence, I think you can boil it down to the intersection of what you enjoy doing and what you're good at. So if you can visualize them as two circles, where those two circles intersect, that's your Ikigai. So your purpose, your sweet spot. If you want to use Ikigai to discover the perfect online niche though, I think it's important to add a third circle. And that third circle being what people are willing to pay for. Because if your ambition is for your online business to make money, you obviously need something that people are prepared to pay for. So it's the intersection of those three circles. And in this video, I'll walk you through the 5-step process to find your Ikigai niches. So just to help you visualize what Ikigai looks like, is a very, very simple diagram. I hope that's large enough to see. I'll move it towards the camera. Step 1 in this niche finding process is to get all the niche ideas you've got in your head, out of your head, on paper. So get a blank sheet of A4 paper and put the 4 columns onto that piece of paper that you can see on the screen. I know I'm doing this in a spreadsheet, but that's just because it's easy to present. But if you take my advice, I recommend you do this the old-fashioned way with pen and paper. Because I'm a firm believer that magic happens when you sit down and connect your brain with a pen in your hand. It might be just my age, maybe because that's how I learnt at school, but I find it much easier for the ideas to flow when I'm using pen and paper and when I'm using a keyboard. Anyway, whichever way you use is fine, but that's my recommendation. So we're going to take these one column at a time, starting with the hobbies and interests column. So set yourself a time of 15 minutes. That's my recommendation because I think time boxing's very powerful. If you give yourself a limited period of time with a very clear goal or objective, I find you get lots done. Having the constraint of that short window of time is very, very powerful. Helps you focus, I think. So if you take my recommendation, set your timer. Make sure you're in a distraction-free environment. I put my phone on airplane mode and I avoid having any screens that could distract me with, YouTube on there or Facebook or whatever. Distraction-free environment, pen and paper, timer. start the timer, and for 15 minutes, just focus on jotting down any hobbies or interests that you've currently got or you've had in the past. Just get them down on paper. Don't worry about quality, doesn't matter what it is, get it down. If you're like me, what you'll probably find is that for the first 5 or 10 minutes, ideas flow, you're writing them down, it's not a problem. Then you hit a bit of a wall. You can't think of any more hobbies and interests. It's very easy at that point, just put your pen down. My recommendation is you don't, because what I find is if I go for the full 15 minutes, the last couple of minutes, ideas start flowing again. And when the alarm sounds, it's a bit of a shock. So that's my advice. Go for the full 15 minutes, get everything down. If you're interested in seeing what I put down, there you go. So that'll give you an idea of the sort of things you need to capture. Then we go to column 2, work activities I enjoy. Same process. Sit down, distraction-free environment, set a timer of 15 minutes, but what you're listing this time is any activities or skills that you've actually done throughout your career that you enjoy and that ideally you're good at. Don't put stuff down here you don't like. So if you look at my example, I worked for a long time as a freelance business systems analyst. Those are the things that I've pulled out of my career that I enjoy doing. What you won't find in there is managing people. I didn't enjoy doing that, so I haven't included it. And I suggest you do the same. Only put stuff down that you enjoy doing, because at the end of the day, we're trying to find a niche to build an online business around. And you don't want to build a business around something that you don't enjoy, that you're not interested in. So that's my advice. Okay, once you've finished that, have a bit of a break. Give your mind a chance to reset, because what we're going to do next is review what we've captured. Because unless you are some kind of niche finding guru, it's very unlikely that what you've actually captured is a niche that you could create an online business around. They need a bit of work, a bit of refinement. They might be too small or they might be too broad. So, if you look down my list, let's have a look. Woodworking covers an awful lot of things. You might have people who love working with hand tools who really don't enjoy anything to do with machinery. So woodworking feels a bit broad. Whereas if I go down a little bit, holding a barbecue, that sounds very specific. I'm going to struggle coming up with content for that. I could come up with lots of content for woodworking. I couldn't come up with very much for holding a barbecue. Now the thing is, it'd be a very targeted audience for holding a barbecue. It's very specific. So I know that I'd attract a very targeted audience. Whereas with woodworking, it'd be a bit of a mishmash. There'd be lots of content that appeal to some people but not to others. So people struggle to understand what your online business is about. So it's about getting the right, just the right niche. And that's what I call Goldilocks niches. So basically, you work down this list, you ignore stuff that now you've thought about you're not really interested in, because there will be some of them, trust me. And what you do, you just ask yourself, is this pitched at the right level? Trust your gut. You can tell if something feels too big or too small. For example, cooking intuitively feels too big. There's lots of different types of cooking. Some people are interested in Italian cooking. They're not interested in Indian cooking or Chinese cooking. If you had a cooking website or online business, it's a mishmash. It's hard to find a target audience for that. Cooking Italian food sounds like a Goldilocks niche for me. So, that's what I'll put in there. So if you have a look at what I came up with, you can see I had woodworking too broad. So I broke it down into woodworking with hand tools. So I'll never use a power tool. I think that'd attract a very specific audience, and there'd be lots of content I could create. So that would be perfect. Woodworking skills and techniques. Having thought about it, that's a little bit too broad, I think. What kind of skills and techniques? Maybe with hand tools, that would work. Woodworking projects. So that one broad niche that I came up with off the top of my head, I've now broken down into what I call a Goldilocks niche. And you see the same again here. We've got, I think I had biking skills, bike skills. That could cover an awful lot of things. Is it push bikes or motorbikes? If it's push bikes, what kind of push bikes? Is it a road bike? Is it a mountain bike? Is it a track bike? So I like mountain biking. So I thought mountain biking skills is just the right size of niche. It'd be perfect. So that's what I ended up with. I'm not going to populate the Ikigai niches column as yet, because that comes at step 4. The next step is to use AI to come up with Goldilocks niches for you. So join me in the next video. The next step in the process is to use AI to help you discover additional Goldilocks niches, maybe niches that you wouldn't have thought of, and any that you do find, we add them to the Goldilocks niche column in the spreadsheet. Doesn't really matter which AI you use, there's lots to choose from. I've got ChatGPT here. I also use Google Gemini and various others. I think one tip I would give you though is whichever AI you use, don't treat it like a machine, treat it like a person. Because I think the best way to get anything from AI is to collaborate with it, to have a conversation with it. So to help me stay in that sort of frame of mind and to treat it like a person rather than a machine, I talk to it like I talk to a person. So you'll see the prompts that I type on the screen. I use my manners just like I would if I was talking to a person. So I could have just said, list the 20 most popular online niches. The results I get back would have been identical. ChatGPT couldn't care less whether I say please, thank you, whatever. But it helps me, it puts me in the right frame of mind so that it's a collaboration, and it's like using a really, really smart human personal assistant. So just a little tip, you can just type direct instruction if you like, but this helps me stay on track. So let's see what it comes up with. No real surprises there. However, what I have noticed, which, when I've used this previously, it was slightly different. It's actually come up with the very high level broad niche and then some sub niches. So that's quite interesting. It's actually drilled down a level. I was expected to say things like money and career, health, wellness, self-improvement. I didn't expect this next level of detail. So what you need to do now, what I would recommend, is just look down this list, make a note of any that you're interested in, and then we need to drill into them to get down to the right level of niche. So for example, if personal finance is interesting to you, that's too big to build an online business around. You need to drill down. They give some ideas what might be sub niches within that here, like budgeting, for example. But what I recommend you do, the next step is, as I say, make a note of any of these niches you're interested in, and then ask it to drill down for you to the next level. So if I have a look down here and just pick one, I think I'll go for weight loss. So that's niche number 6. So what I'm going to say is, please list the 20 most popular sub niches for 6. And I'll copy that because I'm no doubt going to use it again. Excuse me. Okay, so what have we got here? What should I go down to now? Let's have a look. Strength, movement and physical performance. That's kind of interest to me. So 10. 10 sounds quite interesting there. So let's... Interesting. So as you can see, we're getting much closer now to a Goldilocks niche. You know, there's some good ones here. Gait and walking mechanics. There's probably there's lots of content you could create around that, but all that content would appeal to your audience. You know, it's not a mixture of things. It's specific enough for members of your audience to like most of the content you put out there. So that's or balance training and fall prevention. So there's lots of good ideas there. So what I would do is I would make a note of those and add them to the Goldilocks column in the spreadsheet. And you could do what I've done. You can carry on drilling down. You might find some other better fit niches a bit level down, but these feel about right to me. Pickleball, injury prevention. Brilliant, you know, really good. So that is step 2. You've used AI to help you identify additional Goldilocks niches. So the next step, we're going to use Amazon to do something similar. This next step uses Amazon to discover Goldilocks niches that you probably wouldn't have thought of. And it's a very simple process. So basically go to whichever Amazon you use. I'm on amazon.co.uk. And over here at the top left, this is all departments option. So if you click that, it expands. Scroll down to shop by department. Expand the see all. Look up and down here for anything you're interested in. And then drill down to the next level. So I've drilled down the home and garden department. Let's look down here. What am I interested in? Well, I'm interested in arts and crafts, not so much sewing, but I do like drawing, I do like woodwork, so that interests me. So let's have a look what's in there. Now, look down here. There's an awful lot of ideas in here, and some of them are obvious Goldilocks niches: fabric painting and dyeing, mosaic making. Straight away you know the Goldilocks niches. And it's also a good idea to click into them. Even though it's a Goldilocks niche, have a look if there are how many products there are for sale in this niche. Are people buying stuff in this niche? If you look at this, candle making thermometer, it's got 2,000 reviews. 100 plus bought in the past month. There'll be lots of products. So you know there's a market there. You know people are interested in candle making and you know they buy stuff. And one option when you create your online content creator business is that you might recommend products you use yourself. So if you use this thermometer and you think it's good, why not recommend it? Just use your Amazon affiliate link to come to this particular page. And the other good thing with Amazon is once they've followed your affiliate link, they might not buy this, but if they buy something else within a short period of time, I think it's a few days, can't remember the exact period, but that all gets added onto your affiliate account as well. So they may have come in to look at a £7 candle making thermometer and they end up buying a £300 barbecue. Who knows? So it's a very simple way of adding additional income streams to your business. So there you go. That's a really straightforward process of using Amazon to identify additional Goldilocks categories, or niches rather, which you would add to the Goldilocks niche column in your spreadsheet. Next step is probably the one you've been waiting for, which is step 4, where we use Ikigai to review your Goldilocks niches and choose the perfect niche for your online business. Here's the step that I think you've probably been waiting for, which is where you identify the perfect niches for you to build your online business around. I hope you're not disappointed because it's a very, very simple step. But it gets great results. So basically, this step consists of reviewing everything in your Goldilocks niches column, one at a time, and for each one, asking 3 very simple questions. Question 1, would I enjoy creating content about this niche? Yes or no? Question 2, is this something I'm good at? Yes or no? And question 3, do people spend money in this niche? Yes or no? The answer to question 3, you probably have a good idea anyways, because if you're involved in this niche, you can see what people are buying. Maybe in step 3, where we looked through Amazon, you saw people were buying products in the niche you've chosen. So those are the 3 questions, and only transfer a Goldilocks niche into the My Ikigai Niches column if it gets 3 yeses. Okay, so if you look at mine, that's what I transferred across, and what you'll notice right away is they've changed a little bit. So I had retirement businesses. That has now become build an online retirement business. So the reason I've refined it to that is that I know that people in retirement who are interested in making money or creating a business, to be interested in lots of businesses. It might be opening a cafe. It might be building a Etsy store online. There'd be lots of different things they're interested in. So the audience will be interested in all those kinds of businesses. But I, hand on heart, can't say that I'm very knowledgeable in all those different businesses. I've never created an Etsy shop. I've never opened a cafe. I have built lots of online businesses in my career as a business systems analyst. So I refined the retirement businesses Goldilocks niche into building an online retirement business. Now I know that the audience for that is going to be people approaching retirement or who've recently retired who are interested in having an online business. So it's very targeted, but there's still lots of content to create around that. You'll notice that some are transferred across as is. I haven't changed them. And that's because they're fine as they are. However, I like to have a target audience in mind, because explaining this content to a 20-odd-year-old probably requires different language to explain it to somebody who's retired. So I might add for retirees on the end to refine it a little bit. And the same with all of these. And woodworking skills and techniques. I might decide what I want to do is refine it and make it for beginners, because I'm not an expert. I just enjoy woodwork and I can share my knowledge, but my skill levels only go so far. So I might just target beginners. So don't just copy and paste them. Have a think about, could you refine them and make them even better? So I hope that makes sense. That's how you identify your perfect niches that you can make an online business around. The next step, step 5, is picking one of them. This next step should be really quick and really simple. You've done all the hard work now. You've populated your Ikigai niches column with one or more niches, any one of which would be viable to build an online business around. All you need to do now is pick one. If you only got one in there, job done, move on. That's the niche for your online business. If you've got several, you've got a decision to make. Which one do you choose? Now, as I've said, they're all viable niches, so it doesn't really matter, but you need to stop procrastinating. You need to pick one and just go with one. I recommend you trust your gut and just go with the one that jumps out at you. But if you really can't do that, if you're really struggling to do that, a very simple technique is just to get several pieces of paper. On each one, write one of your Ikigai niches, screw each one up into a ball, mess them around so you don't know which is which, and then throw them as far as you can across your room. You then just pick up the one that's gone the furthest. That is the niche that you should build your business around. I know it sounds really simple, but it's effective. It just stops all the procrastination. Just trust the process. So all that's left for me to say now is, please give this process a go. It's very simple. It'll take you no more than a couple of hours. It's really enjoyable as well. And if you have been struggling trying to pick a niche, if you've been in analysis paralysis, this will solve that problem. So give it a go. Take my advice as well. Use pen and paper. Don't do it in a spreadsheet. I think you'll get much better results if you use pen and paper, something as simple as that. Make sure you're in a distraction-free environment. Turn your phone on airplane mode and away you go. Enjoy it. If you do give it a go, please let me know in the comments how you found it. And if you're willing to share, let me know what niche you've chosen for your online business. I'd be really interested to know. Till next time, take it easy.